Recently, stuff got pretty technical around here. We discussed entity limits, recreated binary storage in Mario Maker, and in general discussed a lot of useful but surprisingly complicated things. But let's be honest here, Super Mario Maker isn't only a game about recreating computer contraptions and about pushing limits to build stuff that was believed to be impossible. It is also a game about throwing Mario into wonky situations, about bouncing around, about building gigantic creatures that tend to fall apart, and about useless, silly, but fun stuff. Because of this, we're going to take a look at the most useless and silly thing imaginable in Super Mario Maker today. We're going to use PSYCROW'S amazing black hole glitch to clone tons of enemies, and then we'll try if we're able to break the game. Today, we will finally find out what happens if Mario defeats 648 Piranha Plants at once. What happens if 876 Bob-Ombs go boom at the same time? And finally, what horror awaits Mario if he faces 1067 Hammer Bros at once? So you ready? Let's do this! Okay, so first, let's take a look at the Piranha Plants. I was able to clone 648 evil fire-spitting plants before the editor started to break. Interestingly, the editor is able to handle way more Piranha Plants, but the game crashes as soon as we hit the options button in order to save. I have no idea as to why this happens. Mario stands on top of a conveyor belt here, and so do all the Piranha Plants. We do this so that we're able to load in all Piranha Plants at the same time. It takes 31 in-game seconds from the moment we hit play until all Piranha Plants end up at the same location at the end. At least in theory. In reality, it takes over 70 seconds, because after a couple of seconds, the game starts to lag like crazy. Once all plants are loaded in, the game only runs at about 1/3 of the normal speed. One in-game second takes almost 3 real-life seconds to expire. Mario Maker suddenly runs at 21 frames per second instead of the normal 60. That's slow, but we'll get it slower soon. Another really weird thing that happens is that after a while some Piranha Plants decide to ignore all laws of in-game physics and start to hover in the air. No idea as to why this happens, but I guess the right question is why not? So after a very long load-in phase, all of our plants get entrapped in this small room to the far left. Or at least most of them, since a good bunch of our fire-spitting plants decides to float in the air for no reason at all, instead of falling down like a good Piranha Plant should. But it appears that being as crowded as these Piranha Plants are right now, not only forces them to forget how gravity works, but they also lose one of their defining traits. They stop to spit fire. That's super sad. I really wanted to see all those plants spit fire at once, but as it turns out, cloning hundreds of fire-spitting gravity-affected plants transforms said plants into non-fire-spitting but gravity-ignoring plants. If we hit this question block, we are able to defeat the evil nothing-spitting plants again. This brings the frame rate back to normal, but the hovering plants stay in the air. Let's load in only a couple of hundred plants this time, so that we're able to see them spit fire. Beautiful. That's the closest to a dragon breath we were able to get in Super Mario Maker so far. Next, let's clone some good old Bob-Ombs. So the idea here was to clone as many little walking boom bots as possible, and then to ignite all of them at once by entrapping them inside this one-way door, then lifting them by activating this platform, and then to ignite them by using this fire bar. This didn't turn out so well for a very strange reason. You'll see why in a second. We use a bullet blaster here at the end of all the Bob-Ombs while loading them in, because this blaster picks up all Bob-Ombs that start to ignore gravity and carries them towards the end, whether they want or not. As it turns out, Bob-Ombs take way more computing power than Piranha Plants do. Once all are loaded in, one in-game second takes a little over 6 real-life seconds to pass. That means that the game runs at 10 to 11 frames per second, which is the worst lag I've seen in Mario Maker so far. It takes 90 seconds to load all enemies in, even though only 30 seconds pass in-game. So once all were loaded in, I lifted the platform and waited for 876 Bob-Ombs to ignite. And I waited, and waited, and waited. Nothing happened, because the fire bar disappeared, and so did the one-way door. They simply didn't load in. So we need a plan B. It took me a while to find an ignition setup that loads in reliably. This time we're going to use a fire clown car. So 90 seconds later, all Bob-Ombs are loaded and ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, let's ignite 876 Bob-Ombs at once. And let's find out what happens. They all go boom, and then the game recovers itself. Only audio glitches out a little bit, since the frame rate is so slow. It looks like Mario Maker is truly indestructible. Okay, so let's find out what happens if we load 1067 hammer-swinging Mad Bros in at once. So cloning those was incredibly tedious. There is no black hole glitch setup to directly clone small entities I know about, so I had to clone ugly Sledge Bros for hours before shaking them into their even duller previous form. But not only this, the editor started to lag really hard after a while and the game crashed several times. It looks like Super Mario Maker itself dislikes Hammer Bros as much as I dislike them. But after a couple of hours I was finally able to get a little over 1000 Hammer Bros into the editor without a crash. Hooray! So let's load those annoying little hammer-swinging mad turtles in, and let's see what happens. So first things first. Interestingly, Hammer Bros seem to cause way less lag than Ombs do. The game runs at about 20 frames per second. Looks like our game doesn't want to waste too many resources calculating those evil enemies. Second, Hammer Bros seem to really like bullet blasters, since dozens of them decide to reside and to live inside this blaster from now on. It also appears that Hammer Bros become way more socially appropriate in masses, since they finally stopped to throw all those evil and silly hammers around. Well done, Hammer Bros, well done. That's actually a rare case of mass enlightenment. Other than that, there isn't much we can do with this setup currently, so let's change the setup slightly. If we put a spring below the place where all the Hammer Bros stand, things become really interesting. Hammer Bros aren't intelligent enough to realize that they can't land on top of a spring, and because of this they start to jump straight into the lava. All we need to do is to place a spring there and then load all the Hammer Bros in about 10 times, because that's about the chance that the spring actually spawns, and then look at this. Isn't it beautiful? How all those silly turtles try to land on top of the spring, but land in the lava instead? It's a picture of peace. It's a portrait of beauty. It's truly inspiring. I could watch this all day. But there's one last thing we need to try. Let's load as many Hammer Bros in as possible before they stop to throw hammers, and let's find out what happens. This time Mario brought a shell mat as necessary safety measure. As it turns out, that was a pretty good decision on Mario's part here, because otherwise he would probably end up in the hospital with a severe traumatic brain injury. But since he took the necessary safety measures, he should be able to get away with only a healthy headache. So shout out to PSYCROW for finding this amazing glitch that allows us to clone enemies and to do much more. If you want to learn more about how this trick works, you can find a video done by PSYCROW himself over at Blue Television Games, where he explains in detail how everything here works. It's an amazing watch and I highly recommend everyone checking the video out who hasn't seen it yet. The link is in the description. The next video on this channel will be the semi-final for the Mushroom Kingdom Championship 2018. I can't wait for this year's competition. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and maybe you feel especially cloned today and want to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!